Hello and welcome to today's After Church Tea Time. Thank you for being with us again. Thank you for Rachel, Gaby, and Diona to be with us today again. And in this After Church Tea Time, we discuss the sermon by Jason and Chrissy about discovering Jesus' teaching of Unionism. And I would like to open the floor that you can share what your insights are from this wonderful sermon by Jason and Chrissy are. Yeah, then I start because I really love this sermon. It feels so healing to see the truth that Unionism is this one religion which kind of every religion finds the truth. It's about God and it's about love. Like Chrissy shared, there are two commands we have in Unionism is putting God first and love yourself. And you find this in every religion. This is why Unionism is the one religion for everyone on the world. Because like also Jason said, I love this. Everyone can have God. It's so easy, like Jason said, and life with God can be so easy, and it is available for everyone. Like also the teaching from Jeff and Shaleia is available for everybody. And it felt so safe to receive this truth because like I experienced God always in my life. And with the teaching of Jeff and Shaleia, I just find this clarity how I can cultivate this relationship with God, that it is the normalest and natural thing to put God first. I just never knew how to do it. And now in Unionism, I can feel this desire I have all my life.
Oh, that's beautiful. I have the same desire.
Yes.
Like when I was 18 or something, I started reading about Buddha. And I love that Chrissy kind of like touched upon this. The teaching of Unionism, it's in like through several ascended masters or prophets, people who were very close with God in their relationship. And I remember reading about Buddha. I was like, oh yeah, I want to achieve the same thing. Oh. I want to be like one with the flow of life.
The flow of God, yeah.
Yeah, but God and life, it's pretty much like a synonym to me. And it's the same thing that I was seeing when I picked up like the Old Testament. I kind of like started reading it a couple of months ago. And the thing that caught my attention was that the people like leading the Jewish were very close in their relationship to God too. They were very clear, even if people around them were not singing the same song. It's like, I'm going to follow like God's voice here.
Exactly.
And they never deviated from that. So, but I love it that this teaching kind of like makes it fun to move through the process. It doesn't have to be like this rigorous thing. So yeah, it was a pretty cool sermon.
Yes. I'm very thankful and I feel very grateful to receive this sermon today. And you, what you received from this sermon, Rachel, Gaby, Diona?
Yeah, it felt really good. The thing about it is that it was so broad. There's so many directions where we can expand on with this sermon and go into massive amounts of detail with. But I'm thinking of the bit where Jason said that before he found this work, he tried to do it without God and found himself in a loop, spinning his wheels. I think we all experienced that. And then we find this work and everything changes, everything transforms, because that's what happens when you learn to put God first and love yourself. I mean, looking back on our lives, I'm sure we can all identify situations where things did not make us happy because we haven't loved ourselves. how many things went wrong because we didn't love ourselves. And then from there, it's God first, then yourself, and then everybody else, loving others, loving other people. That's a universal thing. Like every religion, as we've said, is all about love. But in other areas, for example, my Kung Fu class, they have 7 ancestral rules, and they include to love your classmates and respect your parents, because the idea is when you love the people closest to you, then you can love everyone as yourself, which brings us back to the Bible. So it's taken us in a full circle very nicely there.
Yeah, I love that too. I love this quote from Jesus, always love your brothers and sisters like you love yourself. And this is one I meditated long time. And also like Adam and Brienne shared in their card reading, it's something I always knew. And with the teaching of Jeff and Shaleia, I have now this tool where I really can feel the truth in my heart, kind of. All these quotes I always received all my life from the Bible or from other ascended masters. I now have the tool where I can feel it in my heart and with my whole being, because I come always closer to my true self, and I am not afraid of exploring my divinity anymore.
So it's epitomized everything you've always believed in.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice when that
God.
happens.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah. Diono, Gabby would like to share something too, I feel.
Don't be shy.
Yeah, I think what really stood out to me is when Chrissy talked about how embracing unionism and the teachings of Jeff and Shaleia are really like a cultural shift, and like choosing to live life as a unionist, it's different. It's a different life, and you have to be ready to embrace change. And I really appreciated her like sharing that, and how you're going to experience contrast. Like if you're still around people who are not really practicing unionism or practicing the teachings of unionism, you're going to experience that contrast, but that's okay, because the contrast is really what helps you ground into the teachings, and ground into that love. And it also kind of reminds me of something that Jeff shared in his live classes. This was like way in the beginning when we first started the live classes, and he talked about when you really embrace these teachings, it becomes like an identity shift. Like you really have to be willing to change who you are at your core. And I just remember that stood out so much for me, because it, like, when you think about it, it's true, because you are like shifting, identifying with the ego into identifying with God and with love. And that takes a tremendous amount of courage, a tremendous amount of compassion, and a tremendous amount of support, right? Which is what Jeff and Shaleia and this community and unionism provides. And so, yeah, I just feel a lot of gratitude for the community, because, yeah, this journey it's really important. And yeah, it just takes a lot of support and courage. So that's kind of what stood out to me.
My absolute favorite part of the sermon was when Jason likened it to Groundhog Day. So for those of you who haven't seen the movie, it's, I believe Bill Murray is the main character, and every day he wakes up and it's the same day. it's Groundhog Day. And it just follows his journey of screwing everything up over and over again. And then he wakes up the next day and has to repeat that day again until like he eventually figures it out, right? So like that really struck me because when I was watching the Book of John on Amazon Prime, there was a quote that stuck out to me that said, anyone who loves their life will lose it, while anyone who hates their life in this world will keep it for eternal life. And that really spoke to me of like, you can't screw it up, right? You can't screw up the lesson. You can't miss it. Like you're not gonna miss out or screw it up so badly that it never works out, right? You always get another opportunity to learn the lesson, always. You can choose to learn the lesson or you can repeat it, have another opportunity to learn the lesson. But just that, like, you can choose to hate it and think, maybe next time, but it's just coming right back around again. And there's no escaping the lesson, essentially. Like the lesson will always be there when you're ready to learn it. So that to me was just like really funny and also comforting that like this is a safe place to learn and grow and master the lessons. And we have all of the tools to allow us to do that, which I think is amazing. And just one thing that unionism has that you can't really find other places in the same way. So that was just really like meaningful for me in the sermon.
I know the movie since I'm a child with Bill. And I loved the message since I'm a child so much, because when he realized what true love is, then it starts that the same day repeats over again and again. And it was so beautiful. And also kind of this is how God all our life speaks with us, this true love and is real. And like Chrissy also said, the path of unionist is harmonious twin flame union. And that's exactly where we get supported from all areas, through the community, through our gurus and the teaching. And God made a place through Jeff and Shaleia and their teaching where these dreams can come true. And like Gabby said, we get, when we not doing it yet, we can get another change. And Chrissy also shared that we can come again and again.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. If you fall off the horse, you just get back up, you dust yourself off, and you get back, right back at it. And like it's amazing that you cannot really miss it. You can only miss it if you are choosing to like not look at it. But there was a Tifas class where Jeff and Shaleia were sharing like there's so much kind of like pain that somebody can bear until they actually make a different choice. So again, like it's impossible to miss it. Yeah, I don't know. I always loved like my core love with this teaching is that that sense of, again, union, and that's why it's called unionism. It's like all the pieces tie together in a different way that makes it even easier to take on this path, and anyone can just do it. It's really that simple.
Because it's divine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was another bit of the sermon that stuck with me. We mentioned the guru relationship. There's been a bit of talk about that in the community recently, the guru disciple relationship. That when I was practicing and studying Buddhism as well, it said that one, in order to attain full enlightenment or ascension or perfect union, whatever you wish to call it, one has to study under a master and be their disciple. And for some reason, I'm feeling called to make lots of kung fu references tonight. in Kung Fu, the students that are being trained by the master are called disciples. But in the West, they're not called that. They're called students because of the religious connotation with disciples. But it just means somebody who studies a discipline. And it is a discipline. It does take a lot of study, and there is great joy in that study. And it does take a lot of discipline to be with your feelings and find the really subtle ones, the really stubborn ones. But that's something that we get good at the longer we're in the work for.
I like this very much what you shared now, Rachel, that we get clear how natural a guru disciple, thank you, relationship is in truth. That this is the most natural thing we have in life. I felt it all my life, this desire of having a guru. And I then looked back in my life, and then I realized the first guru in my life was my mom. It was kind of, she taught me how life functions, and I looked to her and I asked her, and it was that was when I grew up. This relationship, I looked for another guru, and I was looking in my teachers in it. And when I grew older in work, I was my boss, and then I never found something where I really felt like, okay, that feels good now, like Rachel shared, where I can really learn what I'm looking for. And so I experienced others, spiritual groups and religion, but I never kind of
found that person who can actually guide you
exactly
in the way that you were desiring.
Exactly.
And to be honest, like as everyone was sharing and Rachel was doing that, like it is the most compassionate thing to have a guru, to have something to, or someone better said, to guide you through the journey. Like I remember making that clear choice when I realized I was getting stuck, like Jason said, in this loop. Like I was seeing situations repeat, but I couldn't really get to the core as to why. And the more I learned about these different disciplines, like spiritual disciplines, and again, like Buddha had like a special, left a very special mark on my heart when I was reading about him. I feel like it is so cool to have someone who can actually know the path before you and knows exactly how to guide you through it, especially when you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, we've had people that have guided us in the past. We've had people we've looked after. We've had teachers, bodhisattvas, but they all came and went. And with Jeff and Shaleia, we know that these are two teachers who we're not going to outgrow because they're growing with us, and we can have an eternal relationship with them and grow together with them.
That was very sweet.
There was another quote that stood out to me where Jesus says, "I have come into the world as a light so that no one who believes in me should stay in darkness." And I think that pairs really beautifully with kind of the concept of it being so much more compassionate to have someone lead you through the darkness, right? You can fumble around on your own and, trip and stumble and, all of the things, or you can choose the compassionate route of having someone guide you through the darkness with their light. And that is what we have in this community. That is what we have with Jeff and Shaleia, is that light to guide us through the darkness when we are feeling hopeless or lost, or like we don't know what the next step is, and we, aren't able to tap into that inner clarity. It's there for us. And it's as simple as making the choice to see it, which I think is absolutely beautiful, and makes us so rich and abundant in this community to have that just at our fingertips at any given time, to have that light in the darkness, always the light that, you know, God gave us through Jesus.
Yeah, that's beautiful and feels very relaxing. You can relax into this,
Yeah.
into this truth of unionism. That with kind of, for me, it feels also relaxing when I can repeat the 2 commandments. We have put God first and love yourself. And I kind of, this feels so relaxing because God is always with me, and I can trust that I'm surrounded by God, and through the community and my gurus, I will always receive the next piece.
There is actually no separation. Like even we, like sometimes we have to compartmentalize things to understand them. But in truth, these 2 commandments are one and the same. You know, because when you put God first, you're putting yourself first. As in, again, like the quote with the branches, we can only ever extend what God created us to be, or like as a vessel for Him to move through. And without Him, there's nothing real, actually. Like we may perceive that we are doing stuff, but it's never really us. And it's never really that much fun.
With God, it's fun.
Yeah, it's always better. Once you release that kind of like control thing, I'm gonna believe that I'm doing it. But
feels very good.
Yeah, it's better. And I think that it's incredible that we can take some like something like the teaching of Jesus that has been around for thousands of years, and we can still integrate it in our daily life. Because like Rachel was sharing, a lot of ascended masters came and went, and most of them, and Shaleia also shared this in Twin Flame Ascension School a couple of times, most of them brought the teaching as to how to transcend earth, but never how to have heaven on earth. And the fact that this can be done in such a grounded way, such a practical and logical step by step. I feel like this is what makes it so wonderful about unionism. It's like you can integrate the teaching in any aspect or every aspect in your life that you desire. And it does bring a lot of peace and a lot of joy and a lot of changes, like Jason and Chrissy were sharing upon applying this body of work, like how much their lives transform, and always for the better. So that's like the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I think something Gabby said reminded me of a quote that I actually wrote down. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain on the vine. Like, I really love that, and how it really shows that you have to stay connected to your source. And like talking about our leaders, Jeff and Shaleia, like staying connected to them and just appreciating the gift that we have through them and through their leadership and through their teachings. And it always kind of puzzles me when we see people leave the community, because it's like, I kind of wonder, like, what's next, where are you going kind of thing, because no one else is teaching this. There's no other community that can support this kind of massive change that we're making in the world, right? And so you can only get it here. You have to stay connected to the vine, or else you're going to cut off that source. And so I think that just kind of emphasizes like the appreciation that we have for the community and for Jeff and Shaleia, and just for God, for the gift that we have through this work. Yeah.
Yeah, that was absolutely the piece that I was feeling as well, Tiana. When Chrissy shared that quote about the gardener, I am the true vine and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. And like you said, the next part is remain in me as I remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine. You are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If you do not remain with me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. So I think that answers the question of what happens if you leave. You don't bear fruit, that's for sure.
Yeah, it just feels like really like not compassionate, right? Because there's no other community that's doing this. This is where it's at, you know. This is the vine. So it's way more loving and compassionate to stay connected here.
Yeah, doesn't sound like a fun trip to take.
Yeah, and then I believe the sermon went on to say, until you have perfect union with God, requiring total commitment and surrender, have compassion for yourself as you move through it. Trust as you choose love that you are loved because you are divine. Choose to continually move into perfect union with your creator, which brings us to all the religions again. We had that here again. And also with unionism, it has the word union in it. And that's what all the religions are striving for. I mean, in Buddhism, they wish to attain enlightenment. In Christianity, people want to get into heaven. And I was thinking earlier about paintings and images of heaven where people being reunited with their families and children. And I think those images are act more as a positive reminder of faith rather than being deeply transformative as works of art in themselves. However, what it's saying the same thing as the Buddhism. It's a union, the end of separation. That's what everybody desires. It's like the the 7 main religions. They're effectively just 7 languages of God. You couldn't have everyone belonging to the same religion, but it's always the same God.
Yeah, and the message is always one and the same. Like, I remember, like, every time that I was reading through a religious textbook, I was around like 12 or 13 that I kind of picked it up. It's like they are talking about the same thing. The only difference was that there were discrepancies in between how to get there, how to get to that core of the teaching, which is, again, like being in harmony and in union with God. So apart from that miscommunication, it would be very easy to find that everyone was speaking about the same thing.
Yeah, which is why we should really look at the consciousness of the religions rather than the academic differences between them.
I have this really like potent memory being a child. I was raised Baptist in Christianity, and there was one Sunday where some Mormon missionaries came to our church service because they were traveling, and they believe that you should be in the house of God on Sunday. So they came in for the church service. And I was probably, like lower elementary, 1st or 2nd grade, maybe 3rd grade at the time. And I remember that, like, from the pulpit, the the pastor called these missionaries wolves in sheep's clothing. And like as a child, I was horrified. I was just like, what on earth? Like, these people came here to worship God along with the rest of us. And like, that's how they were embraced. Like, what? Huh? And just like that feeling of being like sad and disappointed that that's what's happening, in religion all over the world, of this separation consciousness. And like, even innately as a child, I was like, that is not true. There's no way that's true. So yeah, just that, like what Rachel was saying, there's that core piece of love in every religion, and it is the true teaching. And it's the only thing that really matters.
Yeah, I feel things are changing here because when I have friends who are Islamic, and it's this woman deeply believe in Allah, and always when I speak with them, we just have the same source, and they realize it. I always speak about God and blah 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 blah, blah, and they always speak about Allah, and we always meet at the same with love, and so they understand what I'm speaking about. Even they have like Rachel said, we don't meet in this. We meet like what is the consciousness of the religion, and I feel with Unionism, the consciousness of the religion opens up to the truth. A lot of people who are experts in their religion open up that in truth they are all one. Kind of they explore the other religion, and
They're
then
more open to having a dialogue with each other.
Exactly, and they see the truth about it.
It made me realize that my father had a bunch of different books on religion and spirituality, and one of them was a dialogue. I probably kind of like never claimed that book. It was a dialogue between a rabbi and like the equivalent in Islam, and it was very interesting to see that they could find like Mittelpunkt, like in the middle. Yeah, thank you. I can say it in German but not in English. This is fun. And have a mature conversation about the two ways of seeing each teaching, and they could convey that the message was kind of like the same. And I think again, like this is the brilliance of Unionism. It speaks to the core of each and every branch of spirituality, because they are all coming from the one same thing, whether you call it nirvana, enlightenment, heaven, whether you call it God, Yahweh, Tao, Chi, whatever name you put it, it's always the same.
And like Chrissy said, these two commands we have in Unionism, put God first and love yourself. And every religion we talked about it are doing that. Put God first and love yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we receive a lot from this sermon, I feel that we have to be
probably processing it.
It feels so healing and grounding. Also receive all these gifts from the sermon and the truth, and how Jesus already lived this oneness. And yeah.
Such an example.
Yeah. Would someone else share something?
Yeah, well, there's another bit in the sermon that talking about how Jeff and Shaleia have been treated for bringing the teaching to the world, and it referenced a Bible story about Jesus, which I think Jeff talked about in more detail in the class, where Jesus offered the gift of sight and was rejected for it. But it's worth remembering that they always jail the prophet, and 100 years later, his followers are jailing the next visionary. Sometimes it takes the bulk of the population a little while to catch up. It's like in concerning the spiritual, Art Kandinsky talked about how the life of the spirit was like a triangle divided into horizontal segments. So there was the least amount of people at the top and the most amount of people at the bottom. So if you look at it's like artwork from a higher segment, it uplifts you, it enlightens you. If you look at art from a lower segment, it drags you down. But if you're at the top of the triangle, there's going to be very few people who actually can receive your work, who actually understand it. It's the people lower down who receive massive acclaim for their genius. So, you know, that's what that's the price you pay for being on the cutting edge of consciousness. I don't know if I explained myself very well, but I think you get the gist of it.
Well, there's always the bold ones who are at the front of, like the avant-garde. And it's very interesting that you brought up Kandinsky, since he was part of the avant-garde in art at the beginning of the 20th century, and that's kind of like being at the forefront. And of course, not everyone is going to be ready to be in that specific point, but Chrissy was like very clear in this: have patience as you work through it. If that's the desire, if that's what you're feeling compelled to, and most of the people here in the community, we are following something that is, while it's ancient, is presented in a new light, and not everyone is going to be ready to resonate with that, and that's okay too. At some point they will be, because the calling can be that strong. You can always like you can only deny it to such an extent.
Yeah, that's why they say that the great artists don't really start selling their paintings for large amounts until they're dead, because it takes the rest of the population a while to get to that level.
Yeah, we can still be presented in a very simple way, and this is something that we've seen in the school. Like, it's very clear, yes or no answer. Do you choose love or not?
Yeah, well, it's like the poems of Rumi, because you know how the teachings can be received on so many different levels, and you grow, you expand, you evolve a little bit, and you watch the same class and you receive it all over again on a whole new level. It's like it's almost like a different message. Like the poems of Rumi, he was reviled by the Taliban because he wrote about love and sex, but now he's the most listened to poetry in Afghanistan and the best-selling poetry in America, because these poems talk to people on every level spiritually that they're at, and he encourages people to reach up in their own spirituality, which is similar to what the teachings do. A little bit off topic there, but
yeah, and it reminded me what Jason said. It's easy. Life with God is easy, and sometimes people like Jesus made, what Chris shared, these miracles and another miracle, and it was the people. It was not enough for them because it was so obvious and easy. Look, it's God through me makes these miracles, and also like Jeff and Shaleia and their teaching brings these miracles in our life, because a miracle is just the energy of God through us. And there are, it seems like easy, but they are kind of daily, these miracles. Since I'm, since I started reading the book, the miracles kind of come daily. At the beginning, I was always, well, what is happening. And I make all these changes inside myself. I desire all my life, and it was always so hard, and I didn't know how to do, and I have to force myself. And now these changes come because I love myself, and now these changes are easy.
Mm. Yeah, but I feel like compassion is key.
Yeah.
Not every, like, again, when in the presence of love, like Gabi was sharing, you know, there's light. It's love is light, and not everybody is gonna be ready to see into the dark places. And like, I feel like that's something that we may be working through still, in healing through, okay, like how Jesus was received and how Jeff and Shaleia are being received, and us as well as their students, because we are branching out the teaching as well. It's like the message gets broader, like spread broader and broader and broader. And yeah, of course, like consciousness everywhere, it's gonna catch up, because I don't remember in which sermon, or if this was addressed in a sermon or in a class. The teacher appears when the student is ready. And I remember Shaleia saying something about this in Tifas. The only reason we ever manifest a prophet or an ascended master is because the whole consciousness was screaming for it. And so in truth, our wishes are being granted. It's what we do when the gift actually is at the doorstep and what you choose to do with it. And like, that's okay. I love it that Chrissy always points to this compassion. Like, have a lot of compassion and patience with yourself first, and of course this can be extended to another, while you go through the motions of it in your journey, and you integrate the teaching and you heal yourself, and you too come to this place of oneness with your Creator, which is of course embedded in the opening and closing prayer.
Yeah, I remember now Dennis' words from the intro, where he shared that his insight from the sermon was that it is always safe to go through the process of purification, because with putting God first and loving yourself, you can go through it with this, also having compassion, whatever arises.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's juicier to find your unique and oneness with God, your divinity, than thinking something completely opposite about yourself, something that you're not. Like, we've been healing a lot around this.
Yeah.
So the sermon was like spot on.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's more fun to see ourselves for who we truly are. But that's my opinion.
And then living that truth, right?
No, that can be the challenging part, but we have the tools to move through it again and again and again. And
yeah,
layer per layer, kind of like aligning to that.
Yeah. One of the other quotes I found was, now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them, right? It's not enough to know the truth. There's the doing part also, of acting on that truth, of embodying who you really are on a daily basis and making those choices and continuing to grow in your love for God and in your life purpose. That's where the blessings come from. That's when things start clicking into place. That's when things get like fun and easy, when you not only like know yourself, but you are acting on that knowing.
I love that, exactly.
So when you take medicine, you actually have to take the medicine, not just read the leaflet.
Yeah, and exactly that is what the teaching of Jeff and Shaleia supports us every day to do. Like, that's so cool. That's the easy thing, like Jason was talking about. where these loops stop, because I know, okay, there is something I don't like.
Yeah, the fact that you can actually transcend them.
Yes, in a very peaceful and loving way.
And again, very compassionate. You're never gonna leave behind anything that you're not ready to leave behind. And yeah.
Yeah, and like the action piece is so core, right? Like it's crucial because that's when you actually get to experience the new choice that you've made, and you really get to like integrate the healing, and like form new patterns and create new experiences. So yeah, I love that. Very core. Oh, and I also wanted to say I really love the point that Rachel made about how sorry, were you saying something, Paco? I think you're on. Okay. Where where she was saying like we're all like on the front lines of spreading these teachings, and while it's so amazing and it's a really great feeling to be like at the forefront of this, of spreading unionism, but at the same time, like she said, there's a price to pay, right? Because people aren't necessarily going to embrace it. The masses aren't necessarily going to embrace it because, like Deb was saying, not everybody's ready. But when they are ready, it's here. And so I just kind of like that really resonated with me because it reminded me that, you know, we have to be firm in our choice to follow the teachings. Even when we do face persecution or doubt or contrast, you know, just standing strong in our choice to follow the teachings. So just wanted to add that piece.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add one little bit to that. In Buddhism, when somebody becomes a master, they get to a certain point in their ascension where they gain miracle powers. But one of their commitments is apparently not to use those miracle powers because people won't receive it, or they'll think it as a spectacle, or they'll think miracles are frightening, like A Course in Miracles says. So it's all interconnected. It feels really good.
Yeah, I love that you brought up choice, right? Because by spreading this work and by spreading this gift that we have through Jeff and Shaleia, like we are giving people a choice because we are exposing them to the truth. And whether or not they choose the truth or, you know, to continue on the way they've been continuing on in their endless Groundhog Day loop, right? They now have a choice because they have it, right? We spread it. It's in their like consciousness and awareness, whether or not they accept it and reject it, they now have a choice.
Yeah, I was thinking about this question that once Jeff, but I think it wasn't once, he shared it many times. It's like, have I loved God? And I think it was also very recently in one of his coaching classes. Like, have I served you? Have I loved you? And it doesn't matter who receives it. This is also like a lesson that we are going deeper into. It's, did we show up or not? Because Jesus, he followed God, he did his thing, and almost little over 2,000 years we are still speaking about him, we are still learning about him, we are still integrating what he brought to us, and we still have conversations about him, regardless what people, like if the people of his time was open or not, if we're 5, 12, 13 or half the globe, it doesn't matter. There was no internet either, so it may be harder for him to reach out every corner of the world, but that was okay for his time. It then spread, like it's never like the quote with the branches, we can only ever extend what we are asked extend, and then the miracles are up to God. And like Gabi was sharing, that just the fact that the teachers appear, the teaching is there, the body of work is eternal. Like it says in A Course of Miracles, like it's in the Holy Bible, in the Old Testament, the Quran, they are timeless. And I feel like maybe that's kind of like one of the most important things. And that's how you kind of like embody that oneness. And Jesus kind of like came to show us that we can all be that in his own unique way. So it's very interesting. I would love to go deeper on this topic. To be honest, there's a lot about Jesus.
Yeah, and I feel like this question, did I serve God? It was, I always ask myself this kind of, I'm raised with Jesus, and this is one of my biggest fear I had in the past, that I don't serve God. And I really wanted to do it from an honest way. So that's why I tried different things. And I was not staying in the Catholic Church because I felt I cannot do that there. How I can do it from a honest heart. That's why I tried different things. And that's exactly where I love Unionism, because it's about this honesty in my heart. Like we say, I know it, but it's also about doing the action and really feeling it with all my being. And I just found it in the teaching of Jeff and Shaleia, why I can go so deep that I can say it. Yes, that's the truth in my heart, and I feel it with every being, and then I can act from my true heart, not because the rule of the religion is forcing me to do it. But here I heal through, like the process Danny shared in the intro, I heal through it and I come to the truth in my heart. And that is also what Jeff and Shaleia always remind us, don't do it because I say it to you, do it because you feel it in your heart, and you heal through every upset or block that arises on this way of seeing the truth. And that is, this alone is a miracle for me I receive every day. And this brings so much peace. Even I'm kind of I'm standing like Leona shared, oh my God, I'm standing for a challenge and I don't know what to do. But then I kind of calm myself down, and then I have kind of this backup with the teaching, and then I can go through. And even in the first minutes or days seem like, oh my God. But then I always come to this, okay, now I can see more clearer, and the next day I see clearer, and the next day clearer, more peace and deeper. And then, oh my God, I realize how I come closer to God and how this relationship with God expands, because I dedicated myself to work through it.
Like Jesus did, and Jeff and Shaleia always do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's like really like authentic and pure. Like I love how unionism kind of encourages you to like lean into those harsh and dark places, and like really embrace it and get to the core of it, because at the core it's really love. And I remember like growing up, I kind of felt like I had to hide parts of myself, like I had to hide the bad parts. And then when I found this work, I'm like, oh, I don't have to hide it. I can embrace it. I can lean into it. I can feel into it. And that allows me to transcend it. And there's just so much peace that comes with that, which is why I really like just love this work and love this, love the teachings. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel we are going to be complete. How you feel? Yeah, I see faces, very loving faces and peaceful faces. That is very nice. Yeah, so I say thank you to you all for joining us, sharing with us your insights. And yeah, if you are watching from YouTube, subscribe and that you don't miss any further discussion. And so I say thank you and have a nice day. Bye.
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 Happy Christmas, everyone.
Oh,
Happy Christmas.
too.
Yeah.
That's true.
Happy Christmas.